Hola YouTube, this is Aqua Ninja, and today I didn't want to make this video, but I'm actually going to make it. It's not to expose fake YouTubers or YouTubers that are promising things that they can't deliver on.
Maintenance is high, the cost of ownership is high, and the monthly payments are abnormal, or you have to put insane amounts of money down. But the reality is all of those things are myths.
It's more to educate the consumer that is thinking about buying a supercar or thinks they have the knowledge in which case they can buy an exotic car that they may not be able to afford. So this is truly just to save those people a lot of time and headache and heartache when they realize that there's a lot of additional things that go into buying a supercar, such as the fees.
The yearly brake change, you probably have to change your tires. So it's probably, I would say, anywhere from $2,500 to maybe more a year to just maintain this car between tires and servicing. Every year and a half, you're probably gonna have to do a transmission flush, which could probably cost you $500–600. Another alignment. Alignments can cost you anywhere from $400, $500, $600 depending on where you go. So the maintenance on this car definitely is more than people think.
So kind of like that example, you can see that supercars in a lot of ways have so many associated taxes that go about that fee, right? So you get to one of these guys like the PrankInvasion, the ExoticCarHacks, the people on the internet that kind of like show people like, oh, you can do this impossible thing. Oh, just subscribe to me and pay me $19.95 and I'll show you exactly how this thing happens. But similar to PrankInvasion, it's kind of BS. Like, to any guy that's in the audience, obviously you realize you can't just walk up to a girl and say, hey, you know, and use some secret Jedi mind trick and, you know, randomly kiss her and say, all right, you know, let's go back to my place, have sex. Doesn't work like that. Real world doesn't work like that. I mean, unless you have some real secret that is associated and it's called money, you're not gonna be able to just do that. It doesn't happen like that. You know what I mean? And every guy realizes that that's not a thing. The difference between girls and supercars is that it's not that same knowledge with supercars. A lot of people don't know about supercars. And even the people that think they know about supercars don't really know about supercars. So with my limited experience with supercars and you know, being in those circles, I realized a lot of times that you can have an illusion that you know a little bit about things that you really don't know about. So think about it like this, right? Let's use a cost and fees for an example, right? In this video, he says you can get a Porsche for $700 a month, right? Let's say you're the average, typical Joe Schmo 9-to-5 job. You make $2,000 a month, right? That's a pretty fair estimate, right? You make $2,000 a month. This Porsche costs $700. Let's even assume that your rent is already taken care of, right? Or whatever. So you got $1,300 to spend on whatever you want to spend it on. In this example, you still can't afford that car. The reason being is because just because the monthly cost is affordable doesn't mean you can afford that car. Think about it like this. Your typical everyday Honda Civic, you take that bad boy in for an oil change, it's gonna cost you anywhere between $30 to $60, right? A supercar, let's say a Huracan for instance, you take that in for an oil change, that $30 oil change now becomes a $460 oil change, right? And we're talking about on the low end. I'm just giving a ballpark example. Could be even more. So that's like a 8 times markup on price, right? Imagine if, you know, hypothetically, you could be the safest driver. You can get the car at the perfect time when all of its things are in good condition. But what happens if, let's say, a random pebble hits your windshield? Boom, you're on the highway, hit your windshield. Well, in a normal car, I mean, they just swap it out, windshield, get some Invisalign, boom, it's good. With a supercar, now you have to take that to the dealership. They have to give you the special windshield that goes with your specific supercar, which costs a crap ton of money. And insurance and stuff, they won't cover that because it's a supercar. So there's things like that that are just, you know, fees that just
without very many clear answers. So what is the cost of owning a car like a Ferrari, a supercar? We'll use this car, the Ferrari FF, as an example, but I'll also talk a little bit about some of the other cars I've owned. And I'm sure this is a question a lot of you would like to know some information. Then it's going to be much easier because it's going to cost you £10,000–20,000 a year. And if you're earning 40, your life costs you 15–20, you've got the excess capital to do it. And that's what I did in the first place when I bought my Vantage Roadster.
What about random tires popping, right? Let's say you run over a pebble, or let's say you run over a needle, right? You didn't even have to see it. With a normal car, you go to your local used tire place, boom, put on a new tires, you get your 22x5s, and you're out of there, you know? Maybe $60 most, right? These cars, you can't just get one tire, most times, right? The factory will sell, like, let's say Ferraris, for instance, 458s, you can get one tire by itself. It's about $2,000 to $4,000, depending on which brand you go with, right? So that's basically 2 months rent. And if you're gonna get two, you might as well get the front and the if your front tire went bad, you might as well get the left front and the right front. So now that's 3 months rent, 4 months rent that's now your monthly income. You just spent on tires. So even though you get the base price, the base monthly price you could afford, you can't afford that car. And it's sad that, like, for supercar owners, the monthly fee is like a number they don't even consider. They don't even consider it in the cost, because that's like the least relevant cost of owning a supercar. It's everything else: the gas, the maintenance fees, the taxes, the insurance, things like that. That's the real cost of owning a supercar. You know what I mean? Like, the monthly upkeep is more important than the actual monthly cost. The monthly cost is always going to be a stagnant number. You know what I mean? So anybody telling you, like, oh, you can buy this supercar with your budget and as a normal person, is complete and utter bullshit. Like, it's not gonna happen. And it's not just me saying it. It's like, as one person that I could go out and go rent a supercar so you can have more relevance and proof of that, you know, what I'm saying is fact. But I mean, what point with that proof? You can see my videos at Lamborghini Miami to know that I have the knowledge and expertise to tell you what this. You can go to wherever city you're in, go to your local supercar place and ask them the same questions that I'm asking right now, and you're going to be able to find out that it's no way that if, on a typical person's salary, that you're going to be able to afford a supercar. It's not going to happen. If you're making between, I'd say, $0 to $60,000-$70,000. At 70 is okay. 70, you can start looking at them if you've been working at that job for a couple of years. But 60,000, you shouldn't be looking at supercars yet. Make some more money, then you can afford to look at supercars, because really it's saving you for the heartache that you're gonna have later down the road. Your rainy day fund is basically gonna be spent on one bad thing that could happen. And accidents happen, random things happen. Like, it's not even your fault. You could buy into a supercar, just like he said, the perfect time and everything. And maybe your clutch is great, your transmission is great, every component of your car is great, but some random thing happens and boom. That's fees that you can't afford. And that's the real message behind why the average person shouldn't buy a supercar. It's not practical. It's literally not practical. It'd be like going for a girl that's way out of your league simply to prove to yourself that you could do it. Like, I mean, that's great that you know that you had the ambition and courage to do it, but I mean, what's the net result? What's the end result? Okay, so I mean, I'm not disparaging anybody from going and trying to do whatever they want to do. By all means, if you want to go buy that supercar, go buy that supercar. But months down the road or a year down the road, when that bad thing happens that I already foreseen, that it's inevitable, Murphy's Law in full effect, don't look at me and say, "Well, I should have listened to that guy." Like, I kind of know things, and it's obvious. Like, it's just common sense. Having economic cars, having even like luxury cars, even like low tier premium cars, make a lot more practical sense versus buying a supercar. And I'll make a separate video on that too. Like, what's the best cars to buy at a certain price point, based on like overall condition, overall, like, you know, aesthetics. What car is gonna get you? Let's just say for all intents and purposes, what car is gonna get you the most looks for that price point, and you're gonna have the most enjoyment out of. And we're gonna have different categories too. So that, I mean, because not everybody's looking for the most aesthetic car. Some people are looking for the fastest car. Some people are looking for the best car in that thing. So I'm gonna have different like tiers and things like that to show you which cars are actually affordable that you could actually buy. Not some $300,000 car, not some $150,000 car that's out of, you know, a typical person's budget. Hope I clarified some things for you. I'm sorry if I like offended somebody, because I know somebody in the comments butthurt, or they're gonna be like, oh man, dang, spoiled my dream. I mean, hey, better me than somebody when you get to the dealership. Because trust me, especially like Lamborghini Miami, the thing is, these people that would come into the store would already preset know what they're gonna get. They'd be like, let me get the Verte Huracan, let me get it with the tech package, the carbon, of course, put the freaking steel on there, yeah, and yeah, let me get the backup camera too, yeah, throw that on there, boom. So they already know what options and everything they want before they come in. Notice, the salesman or them, nobody says anything about numbers because they don't care. The price is irrelevant. Like, that's the point. When you don't care about what the price is, that's when you're ready to buy a supercar. When you're no longer concerned about how much money you're spending, that's when you're ready to buy a supercar. If you're still looking at numbers, not quite yet, my friend. And then the other people are like, kind of like on the fence about, like, you know, like which time to buy and things like that. I'm like, yeah, you're definitely not in the same ballpark as them. This is another quick video. Hopefully I prevented somebody from buying a supercar. There's a reason why when you go to these dealerships, it's typically empty. It should be like that because it kind of represents how much the socioeconomic status is for people of that area. You know what I mean? So it's a direct reflection of the median income for that area. If that makes any sense for you. Comment below your thoughts. Everything you're thinking right now. Even from the ridiculous blue glass. I like these, and I figured I was gonna wear them. Probably wear them in the next video too, or maybe I'll switch them out. Maybe that'll be my thing. I'll be like a Casey Neistat. I just have different freaking shades and shit. Yeah, so just comment your thing. Remember to subscribe. I wanted to make this a way longer, more intricate video, but it's probably just gonna be filled with like memes because I'm like Exotic Car Hacks. So you guys have an aqua day. The thing I wanted to add, I forgot to say it, is they will sell you a car for 10 years or 12 years or so on a normal budget. If you're really adamant, you're like, I'm not gonna leave, I'm gonna, you know, like buy this supercar regardless of if you sell it to me or not, they'll make sure that they give you like a crazy contract where it's like, yeah, you pay like $1,000 for a Huracan, but it'll be so long of a term, like 10 to 15 years, and it's just super impractical. And yet again, all the points from earlier in the video still apply. So the maintenance and all of those costs are going to be crazy. You can barely afford that car, and the second that something bad happens, is really bad news bears. So really, I strive and I hope that I get this point across. Do not buy a supercar if you can't afford to pay the full total cost of the car at any given point in time. Don't buy that car. That's pretty simple logic for almost any car you can afford. Like, if you can't afford to buy that car outright beyond $50,000 or more for a car, then don't buy that car. Plain and simple. So if you're looking at BMW i8 right now, it costs $156,000 if you get the Protonic Red Edition. You can get like for like $98,000 if you get in a used car car market, depending on how much mileage you want. You can get a couple under 10,000 actually. So. Spoiling some car facts right there, but for the most part, you need to be able to afford that. So if you're gonna get like a used version of it, then you should already have $100,000 in your account. If you're looking at a car that costs $98,000, you should already have $100,000 in your account. So that way you can cover any fees that are gonna get hit along the way of you owning that supercar. So I just wanted to end it on that note. You guys have a great freaking summer, and peace.